Greetings from the headquarters of the Acton Institute here in the United States, in the state of Michigan. Throughout the United States, I know that in Italy, I'm not sure about other countries, we have been given permission, this is a phrase that makes me a little nervous, to have church services again, religious services again. And as we begin to do that, several matters have come to the surface that are worth thinking about. The whole first thing is this notion of needing the government's permission to have church services. Now, let me once again underscore the difference between having a skepticism about government's heavy-handed role in the various dimensions of social relationships, but most especially with regard to religious services. The difference between that and the reality of the need for caution and prudence and the recognition of the scientific facts, as sometimes clouded they may be once they get filtered through the political class. So to say that we need to have the government tell us when to worship is problematic because it seems to assume that bureaucrats are more concerned about the citizens who also happen to be believers than their pastors themselves. This, I think, as a pastor, is false to begin with. The other problem with this whole mechanism of waiting on government for the authorization to do these things has to do with the notion that somehow churches are not essential services in society. Now, at least in some of the states here in the United States, permission was given to open tattoo parlors before churches. I have to confess I've never been in a tattoo parlor, and I have no fight with tattoo parlors. They are free to function in a free society if they choose to. But I'll tell you this, I can't imagine that a church service is going to be more intimate, demand more physical proximity than a tattoo parlor to expose people as much as a tattoo parlor, and the concern that pastors have to make sure that things are sanitized, that people are at safe distances, that the distribution of the sacraments is done in a way with real consideration, as I say, for the science involved. The larger question that I've tried to underscore in a number of these conversations that we've had is the marginalization on the part of a secular society of the church, the kind of taking down of a notch or two of religious institutions. And I am concerned about that, obviously because I have a vested interest, but also because of the historical record. And that includes right now. The church, after all, by that of course I mean religious communities of all stripes, have been the first of the first responders. Any study that you're going to do about social engagement, you'll find that religious organizations are generally the first to be there when needs exist, and the first institutions that people go to when there are needs. I've seen that in my own parish recently, and I think that is the case internationally. Certainly it is the case historically. As I facetiously said to one television host in recent days, after all, this isn't our first time at the rodeo, as we say. The church has been here before. We've confronted the reality of pandemic, the reality of human vulnerability in all sorts of circumstances. And that is why my heart rejoices that people will be able to go back to church. I hope that you have an opportunity to worship with your community soon, that you do so prudently, you do so vibrantly, and you do so with a heart filled with faith and hope. which is what we need now in our society more than ever before, and which no bureaucracy can ever give to people. Thank you. God bless you and be well.